Dealerships are finally getting what they
According
deserve.
to
What do they
Edmunds, nearly
deserve? What do
19% of car
dealerships do?
buyers are taking out $1,000 payments. Yeah, $1,000 plus payments, which is insane to be almost 20% of the buying
A
population. If you just
$100,000 for a Jeep? No, I would never. I used to own a Jeep. They're not that great. The interiors kind of suck. Like that, it's cool. Take the doors off, get a tan on your left leg, cruise around in the sun. Use super utilitarian. Take it off roading, all wheel drive. You can tow some things, not much. You'll blow your motor. That's what happened to mine. But like $100,000 for any Jeep. I don't care if it has automatic removing mirrors. That is dumb. Jeeps are not worth $100,000 unless you just put way so much money into them that they're never ever.
think back to 2020,
Ugh,
the number was
awful.
tiny. The percentage was tiny. But combined with high prices and high interest rates, $1,000 payments are all over the place. The
No,
average now is 700, and I would beg to differ. Honestly, it seems like the
no way.
average is 1,000. I was in car sales. It is insane, and right now it's the worst it's ever been. Even though Cox Automotive just came out with recent data saying we're at a 50 or 41-week low with
75,000,
prices. That's kind of what we've been saying, but it
dude.
doesn't mean
Maybe
anything. They
50K for like a
rose the
fully
price
loaded
to
one.
the moon. To be below it, it doesn't really mean anything. And we're still nowhere near where we were in 2020, but they're
Oh, don't
still
tell me there's
saying prices have came
Silverados
down
worth
a
more
little
than
bit, but it's like,
60K.
what?
No
I mean,
way.
it just doesn't do anything. Even with
Dude,
dealer
that's
discounts
not even
and
too
even if
bad. I got
manufacturers
5.3
increase
liter.
rebates, it's just not enough. We've talked about this before, and most people agree. You
This
guys
is like a
need
pretty good truck, dude.
$50,000 off on some of these vehicles because they cost $100,000. Grand Cherokees are 70 grand. F-150s are 100 grand. These prices are insane, and this is what's going on. The car market really is struggling. For the first time, dealerships are really getting a wake up call. Over the last few years, they've been sitting fat and happy, especially when they barely had any inventory. At first, they were scared, but then they realized, oh crap, we can really maximize profit off of a low amount of inventory. And they made a killing on each unit. And brand new units, they
No.
were selling over
Your
MSRP. And
BMW
even the
was
good dealerships that didn't do
75K.
markups were doing the whole, they were selling at
That's
MSRP at the end of the
expensive,
day. So
dude.
you have
What do
all
you
these
have?
buyers that were purchasing at MSRP or over MSRP. Now that's a few
You have an M4. Well, yeah, 75K is not bad for an M4 now in this market.
years later. Used car prices are starting to come down a little bit. It's starting to become
God, that looks
reality.
so
So
dumb,
you
bro. This is so awful. Look at this horrible front end on this. The reason why they were so much cooler is because they kind of like had a throwback to the classic version of the car. They kind of brought back that body style, but like updated it for a more new look to it. But this is starting to look kind of dumb. Like it's starting to look a little too futuristic. It's like you took something that was supposed to look older and throw back to its original body style, and now you're just kind of bastardizing it by updating it to something that's new. So now it's like an old thing that's been new that's now getting away for with no oldness to it, no classicness to it.
you have all these buyers that have negative equity. The average is over $7,000. And if you're in the car
Ugh,
business,
75 for which
it's
car?
everywhere.
A Jeep
10, 20,
Wrangler?
$30,000 upside down in a car because they purchased it wrong. They didn't
No,
put it in proper down payment. The dealership screwed them over. Everything could go wrong, went wrong, and it put them in a hole like no other. $30,000
24.
upside
A
down in a
Nissan
vehicle. That is
Altima? That's not
terrible.
too
And
bad.
you buy all
It's
these
affordable.
F&I products that cost this money, and some of it
But 9% for very good credit for 432 a month, that's a little bit high. Like I would expect to pay something like this for like a new car that is a lower tier car. And so this is kind of affordable.
can get refunded, but it's just a bad situation that buries your own customer. So the dealerships honestly did it to themselves and the manufacturers, but the dealerships had their hand as well. They did it to themselves by screwing their own customer base. And now a lot of customers are just like, I'm not going to buy. I'm really not going to buy at these prices. Or even if they
I
want to
wouldn't.
buy, they go to
Hell
the
no.
dealership, they can't get approved.
Cash
Banks are
car.
starting to say, hey, we're not going to approve as much. We're going to need more
Pre-owned.
proof of income, more proof of this. We're not going to approve so much negative equity because people are not making their payments as much and banks are having to increase their
Yeah,
loan
see,
loss provision.
I know so many people out there that have negative equity in their vehicles, and they bought a car that's for like 55,000 that has a high enough APR on it that they're going to pay $75,000 for it by the end of the 5 years, and it's going to be worth $18,000 at the end of that 5 years too. So it's like, how do you even make up for that? It's like the worst investment you can possibly give. If I gave you $50,000 and then I had to give you another $25,000 over the next 5 years, and then you gave me back $18,000, I'd be all like, "Where did the money go? Like, what is going on? This is the worst investment ever." I expect to lose some money off of something like this. I expect to also have to pay for repairs. But that is just so bad, and then when you're done with that vehicle, if you decide that you're like, "Oh, I'm done with my payments, I'm gonna roll it over into a new car." You have all of that negative equity. Like, if you wanna get out of your car after 3 years, you can't. If your payment's too high, you can't do that. You're screwed. You're absolutely screwed. No, thank you.
So things are going on right now. And by the way, the loan loss provision is money that banks put aside just in case people don't make their payments. So there's a lot of stuff going on in the car market from all ends that's affecting it, from the manufacturer to the dealership to the lending. And at the end of the day, most people are payment buyers. Almost everybody in car dealerships,
Not
they
me.
run on payments. And whenever they sell a
No
car,
payments.
it's
No,
almost 99% of the time on a
can't.
payment. They want you to be a payment buyer. That way they can add all the warranties. That way they can add all this stuff because honestly, they feel they hate
Mm,
cash buyers. They always make less money because cash buyers normally are
because they
very
don't pay
smart purchases. They
interest. I had a repo because of that. Yeah, dude, it's really a problem. Most repos are because they had a payment that was too high and they're too upside down on it to even sell it. They would owe so much money that they can't even pay it if they sold it.
want to take their time. They want to do their research. They want to negotiate. They want to do all this. And I'm not saying payment buyers aren't like that, but you just have to be careful and don't let them take advantage. These dealers are sitting around all day long training in sales negotiation. They're not training in product knowledge. No, they care less about the vehicle knowledge and features. They're worried about training their sales staff in
To
sales
sell
skills
it.
to
They don't
negotiate
care
you, to
about you. They
convince you
don't
to
want you
get
to get the
something that
best
you
deal.
don't
They want you to get
necessarily
the car
want
they want. They
so you
want to
can
make
sign
money.
the
Of
paper and make a rash decision.
course.
But they're getting a taste of their own medicine with all these customers upside down, and the car market really is not doing so
72K.
good, and every dealership knows about it.
The
General managers are
Z71.
posting stuff saying, yeah,
A nice truck.
salespeople, it's about to get really hard. Customers are not coming in as much,
Four-door Wrangler.
and
Ugh.
dealerships are getting more annoying than ever by calling customers now because
Everybody
that's
wants a
their
Jeep
plan, is to
then.
just start calling people nonstop.
I think what happened is that they had the Gladiator, the Jeep Gladiator came out, and everybody was all like, "Oh, truck version of the Jeep, the best Jeep that there is. There's a truck version now. Now I can be a Jeep person and a truck person," and it just really kind of increased the popularity of Jeeps in general. And then everybody got the new Jeep, so now Jeeps are popular again. I mean, they've always been pretty popular, and we have a lot of fans of Jeep, but now they're like a bigger deal than I remember them being. And I used to own one.
To try to get you to come in. So who knows what's going to happen at the end of the day, but no one necessarily feels sorry for the dealership
Which one? It was a 2010 Jeep Wrangler.
because hey, I mean, you guys screwed everybody over. Yeah, the manufacturers took advantage as
It was a
well
while
by
ago.
increasing the MSRP, but you
65K for
guys had your
four-door
hand in the
Sahara.
cookie jar. The manufacturers did. Everybody had their hand in the cookie jar. The banks are starting to say no, and the car market's starting to struggle. And I don't care if it's a 41-week
The
low in car
Gladiators.
prices, it's nowhere near enough. These
People
prices
make
are
terrible
insane. You
financial
walk up to
decisions.
an average, I mean, a Chevy Equinox will be
Bro,
50 grand. You name it.
you gotta be pretty rich to afford a car payment in the first place, but everybody who I know who doesn't even have money has a car payment, and honestly, they probably don't have money because they have a car payment.
Doesn't even make sense. And like Chevy used to have the Spark, an
Yeah.
affordable $14,000 vehicle. Don't even think about buying a
That
vehicle
doesn't
for
make any
that
money
price
now.
nowadays. The cheapest vehicle that most manufacturers offer are in the 20s, and even more than that normally. Toyota switching the
I have to start
Tacoma,
buying K
increasing the
cars from
price to the moon.
Japan, man.
Every
Except for that
manufacturer did
import
this. It's
tax.
not just one of them.
The tariffs.
It's every single automotive manufacturer pretty much got their hand in the cookie jar and they got in trouble. And now they're losing clientele base and customers just
Yeah,
simply
that
can't
makes
keep buying
sense.
cars at these prices because
Yeah, that makes
it
sense, dude. Because if I was a dealership or a manufacturer, right? And I knew people needed a car, right? Why would I sell a car that is the cheapest that I can possibly make it for you, right? Because my profit margins aren't going to be good. If I cut down my bottom line car and you still have to have a car, all I'm doing is pushing you up if up to the next bracket, next price bracket, so I can make more money. Because what you want is the cheapest car you can get. All I'm doing is removing the bottom end of the cheapest. Like I remember whenever I used to play video games like WoW. World of Warcraft, and that taught me a lot about economics. And I'll tell you why, even though you didn't ask. It's because like I could go into the market with money, and then I could buy out all of the cheapest items, and then I could relist them for higher prices, and then basically I just increased the barrier to entry, the cost to get into the game. So now, anytime somebody would try to undercut me, I would buy the product and then I'd relist it online for the higher price. So instead of it being 20 gold per stack, I buy the 100 stacks that were 20 gold, and then I would relist them for 100 gold. And so now everybody who needs that product is now paying 100 gold for it. So that's economics, baby. Supply and demand.
Did everybody need to
Monopolies.
raise this much
That's why
to be able
there's
to
not
afford
monopolies.
a $65,000 Tacoma that is a normal vehicle? It's a Tacoma, and it's at every single Toyota
You guys keep in mind this is 50,000 total for the cost of the vehicle for the retail. This doesn't include all the interest. So like if we took what, it's 50K. So if I have, what did it say there before? It said like 10 was a good percentage. If I have a 50K total car, what is the total interest I'll pay? 10%. Nice solid round numbers so we can kind of extrapolate and guesstimate like our future, right? 3 years for 36 months, you're paying 8,000 in interest, 13,000 in interest, 19,000 in interest. Jesus. So if you get like a 5-year loan term, which most people get a 6, I believe it's a 6-year loan term. I know I've gotten that a couple times, and that was a bad idea. So you're looking like maybe 15K for a 6-year loan term. No, it's a 5-year, 60 months, right? That's a pretty standard one. So it's 14,000 on top of the 50. So you're paying $65,000 for that truck. If unless you make payments towards the principal or something.
dealership across America, and it costs $60,000.
Ugh.
It's not reality, and I think most people agree with that. I'm really interested to hear what you think about it. Do you
Pre-owned,
think these
baby.
prices are normal? Do
Pre-owned.
you think a 42-week low in car prices really means anything? Because to me, it just simply is not enough. We need to go so much lower, it's not even funny. We need more dealer discounts, we need more rebates, we need prices to come down. Everything has to come down dramatically because they got increased so much. Let me know what you think. Have a great day and stay blessed.
It's kind of
Buy used or buy a cash car. See, the problem with buying used, and I do recommend you buy used if you can't afford a cash car. But like if you buy used, you're gonna be paying a car payment anyways. If you buy a cash car, you have to have the upfront cash cost. And most people who have the cash upfront cost put that as a down payment on the car that they really want because they are cool with paying the payments until a repair bill comes or an unexpected expense because they're at their max amount for their income. So they're living at their means. And now, if anything bad happens, they become in debt. And then they have to ride that debt, and then the interest rate keeps them in debt. That's how that works.